This original WSRE presentation is made possible by viewers like you. Thank you.
Journalist and newly minted novelist Rick Outzen on this edition of Conversations. Rick Outzen is well known as the owner and publisher of the InWeekly Newspaper, a publication that has proven it's not afraid to dive deep into local issues. He is also the author of Rick's Blog, a daily blog closely monitored by those who read the news and those who make the news. Recently, Outzen expanded his writing credentials with the publication of his first novel entitled City of Grudges. Take a look.
I'm Walker Holmes, publisher of the Pensacola Insider. Every morning I run with Big Boy. I run away from my fears, my failures, and to work off last night's beers. I published an article that got my best friend arrested. The town turned against me. I've got one chance for redemption, but the odds are stacked against me. In a city of grudges.
We welcome Rick Outzen to Conversations. A novel, huh?
Yeah. A little different.
What made you decide to do that?
Well, I think everybody, every journalist has an idea that they can write something a little bit more than just the news that they cover. And I'd been playing with the idea of creating something that would be about Pensacola, that would attract people to want to come to the town, but having fun with it. So I loved Midnight in the Garden and Good and Evil. I liked those kind of books. So I started playing with it about a year or so ago. I'd written a short story using Walker Holmes. And we put it together, sent it to an agent in L.A. He liked it. They sent it to Select Books. And a year later, we've got it in print.
Tell me about the character Walker.
Walker is, they tell you to write about something you know. So Walker is a small-town newspaper publisher of a weekly that's struggling. He's an imperfect hero. He gets in more trouble than he probably should because he has this ideal that he has to challenge the status quo. And the story starts with Walker's written a story about his best friend and one of the town's most popular leaders and it turns out when he starts writing the story that he finds out that this man, Bo Hines, had stolen money from an arts council. Walker struggles with doing this story. He writes it, publishes it. His friend gets arrested, and the town turns against him because the town did not want to believe that their hero, their favorite son, could do something bad. So Walker is waiting for the trial to take place because that's the only way he can redeem himself and maybe save his newspaper. The morning of the trial, he's sitting at the Blanchard Judicial Building, and everyone's cell phone starts going off all around him. And a deputy comes over and says that the wife of his friend was found dead in her house. And then it sort of takes off from there.
Interesting. How did you come up with the character Walker? Is it a little bit of Rick Outzen in there?
Well, Walker can take a punch better than I can. But it's a little bit. It's really patterned after all the small-town newspaper publishers I've known over the years. I grew up in the Mississippi Delta with Harding Carter and the Delta Democrat-Times. And Harding formed his paper in Greenville, Mississippi in the late 40s, 50s, and 60s, and he was one of the first publishers in Mississippi that actually challenged Jim Crow and segregation. The state legislature called him a liar in a resolution. He was attacked on the streets. He won a Pulitzer Prize for his writing, his editorials. So this part of Walker's part of Harding Carter, in that you can be a little newspaper, can still have a big voice.
Interesting. How did you first get involved in the journalism business?
Not knowing what I was doing. I mean, we started the original paper, in July 1st, 1999, and the goal was we wanted to create an alt weekly that'd be a different voice in Pensacola. Our business plan was we'd be so successful that in 5 years, Gannett would buy us and we'd all walk away with millions of dollars. Then, of course, 9/11, Hurricane Ivan, and everything started to fall apart. And I had to learn. I mean, I've been fortunate that I've always been well read. I've been fortunate that I've been around some very good writers over the years. So a lot of it's been self-taught. A lot of it's been seeking mentors in journalism to help. But it was started as a business venture and then became a passion.
What did you do before you got into this?
My background's a CPA. I was trained to be a CPA. I was with we had the old Mokar Oil Company here that used to have the Beacon stores. So I was their CFO for about 14 years.
Okay, and then decided to get in the newspaper.
Right. Well,
as an
the company was sold, and we walked away with some little money, and we were playing with doing a variety of things. Collier Merrill and Ray Russenberger and Chuck Hemling said, well, why don't we do this? Rick, you don't have a job. Why don't you you've got the business background. Why don't you do this? And then it sort of went from there.
Interesting. What's been the highlight of the InWeekly?
We've done so many different stories. I think that the hardest story that we did that caused the most problems when we started covering the Billings murder case, where I was writing for us and for the Daily Beast, a big national website, and that was when we started reporting stuff that other people didn't have. And I was so naive that I felt like, well, I'd break this story. CNN would want to have me on Fox News. I would be patted on the back. Rick Outzen broke this story, and it went just the opposite. Really? And Nancy Grace actually called me let's see what she called it. Was a blogger with unreliable sources. So Dateline NBC did a story on me, and my family and my writers was thinking, Rick, you sure you got the facts right? Fortunately, the grand jury came out, and everything we reported was validated, and that got a profile in the New York Times for our reporting. So that sort of put us on another level. And then the BP oil spill. We were the most aggressive in going after BP and for their misinformation, and that won us international attention.
What is it about your organization that's different from other local media outlets? Because I mentioned in the top that you're not afraid to really delve into the local issues. You've been pretty aggressive with some stuff.
Well, part of it has to growing up in Mississippi and in the Delta with Harding Carter, where the hardest thing to talk about in the 50s was race. So with Harding's in the Delta Democrat Times and his son, and they lived down the street from us on Kirk Circle. And what got me about the Delta Democrat Times, what I remembered so much growing up was people talked about it every day. They didn't agree or disagree, they talked about it. So I kind of brought that to InWeekly, that we wanted to be a paper you talk about, that we make you think. Sometimes we'll take a stance that seems way out there, just trying to pull the community into the direction we think it needs to go. I'm very, very blessed with very good young writers, young talented graphic artists over the year. Joni Dellison is our editor now. She makes the decisions on the assignments, on the stories that we do. I still get my hand in a little investigative reporting from time to time, but we want to be a paper that influences thought, to be a thought leader.
Yeah. Who's your audience?
You. The people here on the cameras. We used to say that when we write, we're writing for a 35-year-old, because if you're in your 20s, 35 doesn't seem that old, and if you're my age, it seems, seems pretty young, So, but we have found with our newspaper that we get a variety of people reading it, a lot of different age groups. We try to be on the cutting edge of arts and entertainment. On the news side, we try to push the envelope and look a little bit deeper into things. I mean, we're the ones that figured out that we had an unusually high death rate inside the county jail just a couple of years ago. And we're still struggling with that as a county, to be able to put the numbers to things and dig just a little bit deeper.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think you guys have gotten so good at that? Because, I mean, fact is, a lot of the stuff you have more or less broken or led the way with, and then the other media outlets have jumped on.
I think part of it is that we have a lot of young reporters in television and radio and in newspapers. So, and the blog has developed a reputation that it can set the tone for stories or look at the narrative a little differently because we've got the history. We know the background. We know what was said before. We know what we can remember how a story laid out. And because of the turnover that we're having in the other media, some of that's been lost. So I think that gives us a little bit of an edge that we can try to connect the dots just a little bit better. We're just passionate about this town.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned the blog, and I mean that is something that kind of everybody checks, or at least everybody that's kind of wants to be in the know or
Right.
what's going on with what's going on around town. They check it on a regular basis. So I mean that does give you sort of an advantage, wouldn't you say?
It levels the playing field
Yeah.
for us. I think with today's technology, it gave us a chance in 2005 when we started it that we could be relevant on a daily basis. So it's given us what we use it for now a lot of times is we can build a story over time. And then if we seem like we're getting the response and it's starting to come together, then we'll pull it together and put it into a news story a little bit later. So it's given us that advantage. It's a great way to communicate with people. We get a lot of tips on stories. When we had the Billings murder case, gosh, it seemed like everybody in town was rooting for us and giving us the tips that others weren't getting, and because they knew the family and they knew the people that were arrested, and it just gave us an edge which is why the Daily Beast looked to us to work with.
Right. When you start getting tips on something like that, especially a big high-profile news story like that, how do you filter out what might be something legitimate and just a crackpot trying to stir the pot?
Well, I think the big part is, we ask for evidence. We ask, where can you, is there a document that we can ask for? Is there something you can show us? Particularly, with information that we have the ability to get public records. We usually look for a couple sources to verify it, someone else that we can tie it into. And every now and then, if it's a story we feel fairly good about the source, we may put it up as we call buzz, which is we haven't really verified this yet, but this is what we're hearing. And a lot of times we'll get feedback that, hey, this is what happened, or wait, you may have had this wrong. Yeah. So we kind of use it a little bit of fishing.
Yeah, I got you. That makes sense. When you do the blog, you have a place down there for people to make comments. And so you get some interesting comments from time to time. And I see you apparently read those because I'll see you make responses quite frequently.
Well, we were the first to really moderate blog posts. We started doing that in 06 and 07 because we were finding that people were creating a lot of fake identities and creating like a bandwagon effect on an issue. Mm-hmm. And we started looking at it and tracking their IP address and say, wait, this is the same person or the same group of people. So we started moderating it. And then we have a set of rules that we try to follow, and that if someone objects to a comment, we immediately take it down. We try to keep it as on topic as much as we can. Every now and then, if someone disagrees with me, we typically let that go on because I think we've always believed that that's fine. Sometimes they get confused with the issues. We have the issue right now going on with the lockdowns at the local school system, and students were arrested, and we published the arrest report, and some people are upset that information is not correct, and we said, well, please contact the police because that's why these kids were arrested. So it creates a dialogue with the public.
And that's something that really has changed the media landscape over recent years, is for viewers and readers and listeners to be able to immediately become engaged, in blogs and things of that nature. Because in the old days, you just sent a letter to the editor, you called and complained to the station manager or something like that. What do you think this new technology has done, good or bad, for journalism?
Well, I think it's got its pluses and its minuses. I think you can engage an audience. The problem that we have now, and we've seen it with the Russia indictments in that there are a lot of fake personalities on Facebook and Twitter, and there is the technology out there to create multiple replies and conversation with no real people at the other end of it, and that's the downside of it. We had this summer the FEC. They were looking at net neutrality. Well, we found out that they had hundreds of thousands of fake comments on net neutrality given to them that really completely shut down the public comment section. So it's if we can identify that it's a real person, then I think it has real value. And so what we end up losing, at least in the days of letter to the editor, typically, you verified who the person was. So it was a real person on the side. On the internet, everybody's equal and everybody can be nobody. So that makes it difficult.
Yeah, can be the fake news.
Right, exactly. That is the real fake news.
Yeah, it is the real fake news. What about things like Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all of that? What has that done for journalism?
I think it sort of follows the same deal. It's created an audience for writers and journalists. It's created also it's opened it for writers to get harassed so much easier and attacked and in ways that were never really intended. I think that we use social media. A lot of stuff that I do with the blog immediately goes out to those accounts, and it allows people to comment. And for the most part, we don't see many, fake players out there. We feel like they're real people, so it is a value. But it's social media is based on clicks. It's based on number of users. It's based on views, and there's not a lot of incentive for Facebook and Twitter to be sure that they're real people out there. They're just looking for volume.
I just wonder if it's changing the makeup, particularly of political personalities, because in today's world, I mean, if you decide you're going to run for office, you are out there. And if the local newspaper does a story about you and it goes on social media, then people can basically say anything they want to. I mean, and let's take out the fake stuff, but just the real stuff. I mean, you got to kind of have a different personality in today's world, don't you, to be in politics?
Oh, I think so. I think you do, and I think that. But there's some that use it as our president uses Twitter to communicate. So it can be an effective tool when used properly. It all depends on we as the public, not as journalists, but we as the public have to be able to discern what we're reading, and what's of value and what's real and what's not. I mean, there's always some new fake news out there.
Yeah, but I'm just wondering if I'm a politician, maybe 20 years ago I would have said, well, I'd like to run for office, but today I might say, well, there's no way I'm going to hold myself up to that scrutiny. You think that's changed?
I hope not. I mean, I hope that we still get good people running. I think that you do have to have a tough skin, and I think that is a challenge. But I think that I'm looking at the candidates we have filed for local office, and I think we've got a good slate of candidates coming in. So far, it doesn't seem like it's had a negative impact locally.
Talk about some of the big news personalities that you've covered over the years that made an impression upon you.
Gosh, it's. I had an opportunity to meet President Bill Clinton, and that was very, very impressive. I've had good and bad interviews with Governor Rick Scott. The hardest thing with the governor is to get him to drop his guard. And I had a good 5 or 10 minute interview with him when we had the floods in April 2014, where he'd come back from Piedmont and from Lake Forest apartments, and I always kept trying to get that moment again, but we never quite got it. We've been involved in some good stories with people that have just got on the wrong side of the law. I think of Erin Marks, who had a son she was inappropriately arrested for abusing her son, and her son had a very rare disease. And we were able to help Erin Marks, where the state attorney's office dropped the charges, but for a while that was a really hard case. To get involved with some of the victims of crimes and the mothers who have lost children to gun violence, those are always touching. To interview the mother of Victor Steen, who was run over by a police officer when he was being chased on a bicycle in Brownsville. Those conversations probably stay with me more than talking to Rick Scott or Jeff Miller or Marco Rubio. It's those real heartfelt feelings and pain and suffering, and you try to tell their story.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a favorite type of story you like to cover? And I know what you're saying, that those would make a big impression on you, but just if you go, wow, I get to cover politics today, or I get to cover the economy today.
You know, I guess part of it's being the age I'm at. You know, every story a hard story will take a piece of you, and you really have to gear up to do it. I've been fortunate, but I like to dig. I like to get a human emotion, get a real story. I've been doing a lot of writing about recovering heroin addicts and those battling the opioid crisis, mm-hmm. and those conversations, just the devastation in their lives and families, has really motivated me to really work on that. So I get very involved when it's a real life story. I get very involved in civil rights stories. Part of my upbringing in Mississippi, I think that's probably. My staff says that's my hot button, that's where I go probably quicker than anybody. And I don't like it when politicians lie. Yeah. So I get pretty aggressive on that.
Yeah. What about the business part of journalism? How is the business of journalism today?
You know, for us, it's been more difficult because coming out of the recession and the BP oil spill, we found that fewer advertisers wanted to advertise on long-term contracts. So we found ourselves, we've got some very loyal advertisers, but we've really kind of gotten the big thing or the big issues now. I mean, the Best of the Coast is probably one of the biggest issues of any newspaper along the Gulf Coast. Has been huge for us. The Power List, where we rank the 100 top most powerful people. Who would ever think we would do that? But we do. You know, the Rising Stars has been big for us. So we've developed some very, very profitable issues that give us breathing room to do the other stuff we want to do.
You talk about the Power List. I always enjoyed taking a look at that. How do you come up with that?
There's no real. It's based on weight. No, the very first one was really done as a lark. We were sitting. I was sitting with friends at the Atlas, and they said, "Well, who's the most powerful person in Pensacola?" So, for the next 30 minutes, I started jotting down names on a cocktail napkin, put it in my jacket, and went home. Next morning, I woke up and we had an editorial meeting, and every story we were working on had fallen apart. And I said, "Why don't we do this?" You know, so we created the very first Power List, and didn't do any advertising in it. We didn't know if people would take it seriously or not. And we found there were a lot of people upset they weren't on the list. There were a lot of people why they were ranked 20 instead of 15. And all of a sudden we knew we had something. And ever since then, it's become one of the most popular issues because people like lists. And it's we usually try to get input from people, and then we just create a big board, and we just start moving names up and down, trying to figure out what's really the proper ranking.
Yeah. So you do get a lot of feedback from the players.
Oh, we do.
And of course the young kids, the ones
the Rising Stars.
Rising Stars. That's become a very popular.
We figured out great. It really has. Yeah, we really, in 2006, the community was talking about the Maritime Park and that we needed to, we didn't want to lose the talent. Mm-hmm. So we first helped launch the Pensacola Young Professionals. And then after we had that going, so we need something more. So we created the Rising Stars, and we've got 573 people that have been Rising Stars over the last 10 or 11 years.
Wow, fascinating. Once again, The City of Grudges is the name of the novel, and what are people going to be most surprised about when they read this?
Well, I think locals are going to get, one, a lot of the places are real. I mean, it's the Intermission, Into the Alley, St. John's Cemetery. So the places are real. I think locals will be trying to guess who the characters are, and there really aren't any one person. The only one I can verify is the dog, Big Boy. That was the real one. Everyone else is or essence of people and more to help push the story along.
So there might be a little bit of this county commissioner or a little bit of this city councilman rolled into one or two.
It could be.
What kind of response have you gotten so far?
Fantastic. I think we sold out of the early. Amazon had their books in the warehouse. They sold out pretty early. I think what's surprising people, and Quint Studer says, is that people are reading and they realize that I might be a pretty good writer. So I think they're pleasantly surprised with it.
That's great. You got some folks saying some pretty nice things about it here. Mike Papantonio, who's turned into quite a novelist himself. Joe Scarborough from MSNBC's Morning Joe. So all in all, not too bad.
Not bad for the first guy. The guy only knows 500 words. I put them together in the right order every now and then.
That's right. You got some more in you?
We do. This is part of a trilogy. So the next book is going to be Blood in the Water, using pretty much the same characters, and it's going to be built around the jail explosion.
Okay.
So we take a real story and just add intrigue to it.
Okay. How do you like writing?
I love it. I love it.
Novels?
I think what's worked and what attracted the agent and the publisher is that the dialogue is so good. And my life is built listening to people talk and listening to mannerisms. And so I think we've created a cast of characters that's memorable. And I think people are going to want to see what happens to Walker next and how the newspaper stays together.
Yeah. You enjoy, in about 30 seconds, you enjoy the process of just sitting down and writing. Is that
I
fun
really do.
for you?
I wish I could outline better, but I don't. But I do. I can get involved in writing a dialogue between two characters, and I have no idea where it's going to go. Because all of a sudden they start talking, I'm just copying down what they're writing, what they're saying. So it is fun. It's hard to find the time, but it is really fun to do.
That's great. Rick, best of luck to you. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You bet. Rick Outzen. He is the owner and publisher by day of the Independent Weekly, and in his spare time he's writing novels. His debut novel is entitled City of Grudges. Should be a pretty good read for you. By the way, you can see more of our conversations online at wsre.org/conversations, as well as on Facebook and YouTube. I'm Jeff Weeks. Thank you so very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the broadcast. Take wonderful care of yourself, and we'll see you soon.
Support for this program is provided in part by Gulf Power, a Southern company, and by viewers like you. Thank you.